interest in coordinating to volunteer, so I reached out to them. Fire and Oak, the dispensary down here at, actually right over here on Washington Street, also expressed an interest in participating, so I've spoken with them. We're supposed to connect by email, and hopefully we can get that taken care of soon. And then there was a third group as we're talking about it. I think it was either a Boy Scout troop or like a karate instructor, but I'm gonna follow up with Jim Loke, who had mentioned that to me, and I will make sure that he contacts them, since I'm pretty sure I do not have their information. But hopefully we get a good turnout for that. That is September 14th at 9:30, ideally. If there is any inclement weather, including extreme heat, we will have a makeup date on the 21st. The plan, at least for the quote-unquote main group that'll be meeting up, will be right outside of the firehouse at on Pine at 9:30, but you know, kind of harkening back to the communications with Presbyterian Church, Fire and Oak, etc., depending on what's convenient for those groups, we will of course be more than happy to accommodate. With that out of the way, let's have the minutes from last meeting approved. Do I hear a motion for that? Move. Second?
Second.
All right. Let's just vote by voice. And you know, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Meeting minutes from the last meeting are approved. Old business. We, I think, kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of the town cleanup. Are there any questions, concerns anybody has at this point? We have, in terms of new business, we'll come back to that, you know, some priorities, but just wanted out the gate if there's any questions or, you know, anything that you think would be helpful. All right, not seeing anything. Moving on to the community garden. I know that I only got an email about this after I submitted the agenda for today, but it sounds like Josh Brown had instructed Tim from the town to go ahead with the purchase, but there were some questions. Josh told me that when those questions were brought to his attention, he told Tim to reach out to you. Did he reach out to you? No, not yet. All right, so I can follow up with Josh and basically Tim directly to make sure that those questions are brought to our attention and answered promptly. I know ideally you still want to get this done in the fall, and at the very least we can have that done in time for us to have everything ready for people to go in and actually start gardening in there in the spring of 2025. All right, moving on to new business. First and foremost, welcome John Eick to the Environmental Advisory Committee. We are really happy to have you here, but Lord knows that there's always enough work to go around. Sorry, unfortunately, that Kelly wasn't able to join us tonight just due to scheduling conflict, but we're looking forward to having her at the next one. And yeah, we're just looking forward to a lot of productive work together. So, do you want to introduce yourself, say anything?
Nope, I don't know all of you except for the trees. I'm John Eick. I live over on Lake Street. Just moved in a few months ago.
Fantastic.
Oh.
So in terms of going back to the town cleanup for the 14th, you know, at least tentatively for the 14th, there are a couple of areas that have already been brought to my attention as being good candidates for priority areas to clean up on the 14th. One of them is Grant Street, which from what I've heard and subsequently seen does have a lot of litter out there. I know there are issues at Milldam Park, which we're, you know, hopefully the trash that you saw isn't still there, but assuming that's a recurring issue, yeah, we're gonna want to take care of that. And so, you know, I know there's some areas that we tend to hit pretty heavy, like the intersection of like the intersection of High Street and Washington and Mill. We've done Lower Pine Street often, and we've done the park in the past, but in addition to Grand Street and presumably Mill Dam, I was curious if anybody knew of any areas or wanted to propose of any areas that might make for good priorities next month.
The only area that I can think of at the last town council meeting, and I would have to confirm the street, there's somebody complaining about trash, somebody dumping trash over, I think by the new development and by.
I think that's the Grand Street stuff that was brought to my attention, but we can circle back on that. It is what it is.
It would be like the Grand Street by Lennox.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, we can definitely confirm just to make sure that any concerns that were raised at the council are addressed, but yeah, Grand Street will definitely be a priority. I mean, how is it down by Monroe lately, Beatrice?
It's actually been fine. We have a gentleman that's in the neighborhood that he cleans up.
Oh,
Yeah, like he'll go from his house down the other side of the street and like, yeah.
that's awesome.
I actually wanted to ask a question about that. You know how they have the, I don't know, they give proclamations or something for
Yeah,
somebody that does
donations.
good work?
Yeah.
And don't ask me his name, I don't know yet.
Okay.
But I was wondering because he gets out there with his leaf blower and I mean, he just really does a nice job and he helps, you know, make the neighborhood look nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would, especially once we know his name or more information about him, yes,
Okay.
I would really like to pursue that.
All right, sounds
That
good.
is,
So it's been actually pretty good, other than I have a neighbor that's on Monroe Street that has water that comes out of his basement, and then all the trash comes to my corner. But, I mean, I've voiced my opinion about that numerous times, sent emails and stuff, I guess they'll do what they're gonna do.
unfortunately, yeah. But, to the extent that there is anything that.
No,
comes
not
into
big,
it.
it's actually, looks relatively good.
Good, hopefully it stays that way. One of the things that ends up affecting this, and we'll see what the weather gets like closer to the day of, will be any bad storms that end up washing stuff
Right.
into the street, into the storm drains, which is something that, again, depending on what the weather's like as we get closer to the event, that was a big issue during the last cleanup in April. I actually cut my hand taking stuff out of the storm drain, even with gloves on. I mean, it's, I think even when people are doing their best, it's not like people are being reckless, but a lot of stuff gets washed in there, and that's not just a littering issue, then it becomes a flood issue, and anyhow, something for us to keep an eye on. So anyhow, we have some time between now and then. If you see anywhere around town that you think might be a good candidate to add, of course, just let us know. We can plan on that in advance, and then kind of circling back again to the communications we've had with some of the groups that are interested in coordinating with us. I will take any help we can get with this. So, it's certainly possible the folks from Fire and Oak just want to clean up near Fire and Oak, in which case, fine. Ditto for the Presbyterian Church and the third group. So, we can keep an eye on that, and hopefully the more area we cover, the better. Dawn, did you want to expand at all on the littering that's going on at Milldam Park?
It's just blatant. People are, they've broken down 2 of the brand new light fixtures that are there. They are shooting off bottle rockets, or at least there's evidence that they have shot off bottle rockets. They're leaving soda cans, water bottles, everything all over the park. And it's brand new. It's absolutely ridiculous. So every time I go, because we just pick up every time we go. But I don't want that to become a habit, because then that just continues to enables.
For what it's worth, the pictures that you sent were forwarded to Josh and the mayor, so it's on their radar. I have not had the chance to talk with them at length about what they're going to do about it, but I will.
There's a camera out there.
That's good.
So
Hopefully.
I don't know what they do with the information that comes from that
Yeah.
camera, but there is a camera out there.
that was gonna be my recommendation, but it turns out, alright, well, hopefully we, like you said, we actually use what that camera's capturing, so. Alright, yeah, and then, you know, kind of in a similar vein, if you, see any particularly bad, deliberate, you know, sort of acts of vandalism, littering around town, especially in public spaces, definitely bring that to our attention so we can pass it along to the town manager and the council for more action. Hopefully, you know, also if the police need to get involved, if appropriate. So the other thing that was also recently brought to the committee's attention is there's a lot of concerns about the geese that are showing up around the lakes. I know down by the 7-Eleven especially, there's a ton, and I don't know if it's just a matter of the volume or if they're aggressive, but there was an inquiry as to whether there was anything we could do about that. In theory, you know, I don't know how much there is environmentally speaking. You know, there are some practical steps you can take. There's the geese chasing services. You know, this already kind of feels like something that goes beyond what is in our purview and kind of more in the council's purview, but I did want to at least bring it to everyone's attention and see if anyone had any ideas or knew of any, you know, like, I don't know if it's the sort of thing like there is with deer where if you spray certain stuff. I don't think so. I feel like
I think
we
he's
would have
pretty
known
hard to
about
keep
it.
away.
Yeah, but at the very least, you know, if you happen to see anything that might be relevant, or if you know anybody at one of those services where we might be able to get a quote or whatever the case may be.
Well, in Morristown, they just have those, look like dogs.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, right.
Do they work? I mean, we can find out.
I think the
That's
geese
helpful.
I think the geese have learned.
It's a lead. It's Google. Morristown dog cutout. Alright. I don't know what technical term is. So, alright, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on. I guess it's sort of something where it's like, well, if they're, you know, the droppings are becoming a concern, you know, that's something for us to keep an eye on. But, at least for the time being, you know, I'll pass along some of the recommendations we have back to, back up the flagpole. So,
ChatGPT, 17.
oh, fantastic, thank you. Technology. All right, so is there, anything else that we wanted to, raise as new business that's not on the agenda before opening it up to public comment? Okay, so in that case, we will now open the floor to public comment. Before you speak, if you'd be so kind as to state your name and your address for the record. Yeah, all right, without further ado, yes, Louis.
Luis Lopez, 98 Levels Drive, a former member of the Green Team. I have just two concerns. One is the passageway from the Millery store, go to the back road. There's like an area that the needs some, you know, some help or something. And the second one is the Mahali Trail.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely help you out with the Mahali Trail. I love going there. If you had anything to do with Mahali Trail, I will help. I love going there. Even at 4:30 in the morning, I did that only once, and I loved it. Okay? That's my only concern.
Well, before you sit down, I actually was hoping I have a follow-up question, because I happen to really like the Mount Holly Trail too, and I've never gone as early as you have. Have you had any concerns out there in terms of your safety or anything like that?
No. Nope, no concern.
Right.
I'm not even afraid of walking there at 4:30 in the morning or at 6:30. I'm not concerned now.
Okay, cool.
I know it's safe.
Good, thank you. Anyone else?
Pierre Ford, 117 Branch Street. Those signs that you're talking about, they actually work.
Oh,
do work.
okay.
Yeah, we have some over at, I work in Philadelphia on the base over there in the supply base, and they actually have those metal dog things, and they do work.
Cool.
'Cause,
Not yet.
Also, for the cleanup, I'm with a Masonic Lodge, Morning Glory 52 over in Burlington. What I can do is I can get with my worshipful master and see if we can probably help out with the cleaning. Because I think like 2 or 3 years ago, we helped clean. My kids and my wife and some other people from my lodge helped clean around the areas over on Pine Street and in that area right there where those shopping stores are right there. We cleaned up over there. I think doing it once a year is not enough.
It's not once a year, just to be clear. We try to do it once a quarter. So
Oh,
the last one
that's
was
even better.
April.
Oh, okay.
And of course, it's always weather permitting,
Yeah.
but we try to do it once a quarter.
Okay, all right. And the reason why I said that is because we let the citizens know that we're out there to try to beautify their areas, but we also need to educate them on cleaning up their areas as well, because we're not a cleaning service. We're just doing it to clean our town. Thank you.
And thank you. And if you wouldn't mind, do you already have Kayla's email address?
No.
Do you
I'll
mind?
write it down.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind
Okay.
reaching out, we'd love to
Okay.
help coordinate that.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Mhm.
I do, yeah, everyone's gonna, Tara Astor, 416 Buttonwood Street. Just, like, you mentioned Fire and Oak and, who else?
The First
Basic.
Presbyterian
Yeah,
Church.
First Presbyterian Church. If a business or a group of people, a resident, wants to coordinate with the environmental committee to help with the cleanup, who should they contact and how?
Kayla by email.
Kayla?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, 'cause there's no like, no, oh, no, alright.
The first two happen to be just by word of mouth and them reaching out to us and Facebook.
Yeah.
But yes, for anybody who is formally, interested in coordinating, that would be the place to start.
Okay, and then secondly, for the September 14th, will you guys like do a little something on Facebook so we could share and multiple, more people the better?
Absolutely.
Also, and just, you guys were listening, I'm gonna interrupt, the lady that was complaining about the dumping, it was off King Street behind Millre's in the alley. Which, I don't know if the alley technically is public property, but, yeah, I remember that, very specific.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem, thank you. We will definitely add that to the list of priorities.
John Swinson, 34 White Street. So is there anywhere people can pick up cleaning stuff? Like if they needed buckets and gloves and all that?
Yeah, this is for the cleanup on the 14th.
I mean, generally, if somebody wants to go up and just clean up stuff, can they like coordinate with somebody to like come pick up a bucket and trash pickers?
So generally, we don't supply them.
Generally
We do
not.
supply them for the cleanup. We have trash pickers, we have gloves and trash bags, but,
Okay.
I mean, just, I don't know about the logistics
Yeah, I don't
of.
think there's anywhere to like store it and like coordinate the access or
Right.
anything.
These are, the ones that we're using, at least to my understanding, are, like the trash pickers and other stuff that we're effectively borrowing from Public Works, so.
Right,
if
okay.
I don't know how accessible they could be around the clock if people just on a whim wanted to go out and grab
Do some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, go
We can
ahead.
think about it
We can
though.
think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Just in case. It's fun.
Yeah.
Go out and do that stuff. Have you guys thought about coordinating with code enforcement to help like seniors and people that are disabled? Cause sometimes if there's a code enforcement issue and they have like trash and stuff in their yard and the issue is they cannot do it, did you guys think about something like that, coordinating with them?
We have not considered in the past, but we'd be more than happy to.
Okay.
I mean, that, and again, that's sort of the thing, going back to your, or I guess it was Tara's first question. Yeah, sort of, I think Kayla's email address is on the committee website.
Okay.
We can only get involved with things once they're on our radar, right? If there are
Mhm.
folks who are dealing with enforcement issues and it is a matter of their ability to help clean up, we absolutely
We
strongly
absolutely
encourage
can.
them to
Okay.
reach out to us.
Cool. And also, have you guys considered coordinating with the high school for community service? Do you guys do that already?
Oh, yes.
All right,
We
great.
are working on it, but it is, You know, there are a lot of people involved, and it's not always the top priority for everyone.
Right.
But we are definitely on the same page there. We'd love to help ramp up some sort of cooperation program when we can finally help make it happen.
And I guess, the last thing, are there littering signs out there in the park?
In the park, I don't believe I saw any, but I think maybe even providing guidance, not just no littering, because people may not know what
Mhm.
that necessarily means.
Maybe not.
Let's do the positive reinforcement and
Mhm.
talk about how
Keep
to.
our community clean,
Exactly.
sort of thing. Okay.
So maybe think of, there are a lot of trash
Yeah,
cans.
no, there was in the pictures there was stuff like right next to trash cans, which was terrible.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And for what it's worth, this is another thing that has been on our radar. The community garden and at this point the cleanup are taking up the lion's share of our attention, but we have been on the lookout for any grant money that might be able to be dedicated towards littering signs or signs that are more positive reinforcement oriented. So if you happen to see anything, or, you know, if the council is able to dedicate some money towards those signs, we are definitely prepared to put them to good use. So.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And it's even, if you see the cigarette butt, where you can just put it right in there. It's
Mhm.
right there, and yet, right underneath.
Well, we can get some crows to do that. We can. They can be trained to do that.
Can you train crows?
Yeah, they can do that. They can
Take all the little people.
give them a little treat.
I mean, I think the turkey butcher's gonna eat the crows, it's gonna just make the problem worse. I don't know. Any other?
Hi, David Villalba, 166 in Concord Road. Follow up quickly on what the gentleman said, which he had brought up good points. What's the after effect as far as people who realize there's littering? Is there any penalties or anything noticed to give them a warning or anything to that effect?
Yeah, there
Neighborhoods that are garbage, I see it all over, bags are ripped, garbage is thrown, it's not really clean. So that's one issue.
Right.
There is?
I mean, there is a law in the books, it is illegal to litter, but,
Okay,
you know,
so then
enforcement
to
is
follow
a
up on the young
different issue.
ladies, with the code officer, how many code officers are in effect to drive around and look at this to actually give citations?
I don't have that information available.
One.
Is it one? One.
One, Ezekiel.
Okay,
Can we
so-
have any more? One can do buildings, one can do restaurants, one can do inspections, one can do, it's ridiculous to have one. And I don't ever see him or a car or anything. And I'm gonna put in a Freedom of Information Act to see what he's actually done or what has been done. So if we
Thank
can
you
get
for
more
that.
code officers, that'll be great.
That's, just to address that briefly, we have no control over any allocation of funding. That's ultimately a issue you should bring to the attention of the council.
Okay, but if you can refer it to them as a concern, environmentally, that's not healthy. I see garbage that lays there from 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, because the sanitation will not pick it up. They need to pick up things that they seem proper, and they don't wanna go out of their way. So-
Have you brought this to the council's attention yet?
I have, but again,
So-
environmental, so we're
I
here.
hear, I'm glad, now that I know, I will make sure to let them know that I will make sure to let them know
I
that
appreciate
you've
it.
reached out and
I
we will
appreciate it.
follow.
Also, what about transparency? Do we have any posts? Are you posting anything publicly
Yes.
on what environmentally is wrong or which area has more contamination? Or the water or piping, or, for example, there's on King Street, there may be oil underneath the soil. Do we know what's going on with that? Are there any other areas that have soil? Do we know what the contamination on the creek is? And are we posting that publicly so that more people can become aware of these things?
So, I mean, there's a couple.
And if you can't do it, I'll be more than happy to do it and build a website so you can do it.
Do you have access to that data?
I don't have access to the data, I'm sure.
So that's probably part of the issue here, right? A lot of that is privately owned property, those.
Okay, but I'm sure you know what's environmentally harmful and what's there in the last 20 years, so you could just talk to them and what's been underneath there, the soil.
I appreciate that comment and we'll take it under consideration.
Okay, what about publishing things of?
We have a website, we use social media. I mean, we're
I
not
don't see a
providing-
lot of things being published day to day.
I don't know that we can provide the kind of specifics that you're looking for, but if you have any tangible, specific recommendations for us to post, not, specific properties, specific concerns that you have, we will
Okay,
definitely look.
what
into
about starting a website where we could take pictures, or citizens can take pictures, and we encourage them to take pictures anonymously, to submit them where they won't get in trouble of problems in our area and advertise that? That would be very helpful, so that it's not
That,
a
again,
short group
sounds
or a small
something
group
that is-
here.
That is definitely beyond the committee's purview. That is something that the
Who would
town would
refer
have
that
to. That's definitely a council issue, and I encourage you to bring it up to them because I think it's a great idea.
Okay, and as far as the,
That's actually your time. I'm sorry.
Oh, really?
That was the time.
oh, you
Yes,
didn't
sir.
mention it earlier, but that's fine. I'll just publish this
I
on the
mean, if there's no
website.
other comments, we'll give you a second time, but this one will definitely be time.
Okay.
Are you're declining the opportunity to do so?
I wanna abide by your rules, and if your rules are significant, then I hope what I say stands significant in what I publish on the website. People are gonna read it, and on the YouTube and so on, they're gonna be aware of what's going on.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a lot of issues I have here that are a problem. It's not just one or two. Like I said, the streets are messy, the garbage cans, people have 6, 7 garbage cans that don't match. I know you say it's gonna be a town issue, and there was a town issue representing that. Again, there are things that are really concerning that we need to be responsible for. Gentleman brought up a good point. We need to make the citizens more responsible for their garbage. We can't pick up on them. We're not, as he said, their cleaning service, so they gotta take care of their front, their yard. We want the town of Mount Holly to stand and be significant, be a beauty, not be harmful. Bring in more business, bring in more people, outsiders, see it as a town that's prospering, not diminishing. And if we don't clean it up and put down good quality things, then we stand. And as far as the creek is concerned, I mean, there's environmental hazards there, the mosquito hazard that, that's going on right now, West Niles. We're in that time period. We need to find out if that's a hazard and inform the people. I'll leave it at that.
Great. Well, it sounds like we'll be seeing you on the 14th.
You will be.
Great. Anything else for the good of the cause? All right. Seeing, is there anything matters to be discussed by committee? All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.